Hey everyone, it's me, Sean Capri, and welcome to episode 108 of We the GamerCast. It's the official podcast of WeTheNerdy.com. It comes to you every Monday on iTunes, Google Play, and mother-loving YouTube. I am rested. That might be coming in a little hot on the audio there. Hang on a second. Let's see. We're hitting the red line just a little too much, everybody. I'll back it off. I'm really sorry about that. Thank you for listening and for sharing and subscribing on youtube.com/WeTheNerdy and on iTunes and all that other good stuff. Thank you guys for everything that you do, especially our brand new set of producers over on patreon.com/makeusbetter. You guys all make us better. You had another episode this week. We're getting bigger, better than ever, liver than ever. Everything is just amazing, and it's all thanks to you guys. Special shout out to our brand new set of producers, our platinum executive producer Corey Hicks, our gold producer. Goodness gracious, this is a new thing, guys. Our gold executive producer Sheldon Benedict, and all of our executive producers, Nick Militia from Next Level Games, Joel Brooks, James Johnson, Dr. Doom, Jesse Armstrong, Glocko Schaefer, David Ray, Joey Hare, Mike Drummy. My goodness gracious, guys, you are so generous. We had to come up with a whole new way to classify y'all. I always feel I really want to adopt y'all. Like, it's not like I want to get rid of the roots, the paper roots, and just take up the y'alls. I think that's so much better because it's you, but like the collective you. Anyways, if you're new, here's the deal. Every week I have Sweet Hangs with a stranger from the internet, and we talk about video games and so much more. If you want to be part of the show, it's very easy. Just tweet at me, Sean Capri, Sean like Connor Capri, like the pants, the flood pants, the things that come up just above the bumps of your ankles, or maybe even higher than that. Guys, I've spend a lot of the day resting today, actually. Chelsea and I, we just kind of like plopped on the couch, and we were about to do stuff, and next thing you know, we kind of look at each other with heavy eyes, and I fell asleep on a chair, and she fell asleep on the couch, and Lincoln was just right there. He was happy as a clam. He was eating, and we were sleeping, and it was a good afternoon. So now, normally I do this in the morning. Normally this is like done by now, but it's almost dinner time. Chelsea's out. She is grocery shopping. We're gonna have some food for Lincoln. He's eating off of the table. He just grabs a whole chunk of meat and shoves it into his face. But that sounds real terrible. Anyways, just trying to explain why I'm so excitable right now. I hope you guys had a great weekend. It's Thanksgiving here in Canada, so I thought that I might go ahead and give some thanks. You know, I've talked about before where I adopt American Thanksgiving because it's the right timing. It's the kickstarting of Christmas. It all makes sense. Like here, like it's the middle of October. It's not even really the middle. Doesn't make any sense. However, doesn't hurt to go ahead and do a little reflecting, give some thanks. So I wanted to thank Andrew Semichek, who allowed all of this nonsense to happen. He was the one who spotted me out in I think it was kind of funny, in some Facebook group, and he allowed me to start writing for We the Nerdy, and he then allowed me to take over We the GamerCast and do this crazy format. So I wanted to thank Andrew Semichek. He, of course, allows me to continue doing the show, continue writing for We the Nerdy, and things just have been so amazing ever since him and I crossed paths. So I want to thank him. I'm grateful, obviously, for Bobby Pauls and Toby Thornton, what we were creating with Make Us Better, and with the power of everybody who listens, shares, reaches out to our guests, all of you guys who make not only me feel like you're listening and that you're enjoying this, but when a guest comes on and you reach out to them, I am so thankful that's part of all of this magic. So thank you guys for that. I want to thank Corey Hicks for breaking our system. Oh my goodness gracious. And all the patrons over on patreon.com/makeusbetter. Guys, listening, sharing everything. I'm just so thankful. You're the reason that we do this. You're the reason we continue to push the boundaries. We're live now. This is not live. Not live video. We're live on If We Were at Nintendo, but this is video. This was not my comfort zone. I kind of like just having that camera shut off, doing this intro, but you have shown us that you want more, and I am so happy to go ahead and give you more. It pushes me creatively, and we're continuing to find new ways to make this bigger and better than ever. So thank you guys so much. And I hope that if you even have a little bit of even if you're in America, you have take a moment to give thanks. It doesn't always have to be Thanksgiving to give thanks. It's nice to be aware of the things that we're grateful in our lives, and I am certainly grateful for Brendan Meyers, a chat that is excellent, and it's in the can. It's coming to you in just a second. I'm grateful so much to Brendan for reaching out quite a while ago, actually, and it was nice that this finally worked out. Finally have him on. We have a very important chat. It's gonna be one of those guys. It'll be eventually. It's not all very serious. We have a nice little spectrum for y'all to see. There it is. It's happening, y'all. A couple things I'm excited about before we get to our chat. I'm going to be guesting on a few shows. So Game Moose Podcast, one of my favorite Canadian shows, and actually that's even hard to say because there are many great Canadian podcasts. But I don't even know how we ended up crossing paths. Probably Brock McLaughlin. Game Moose Podcast. Follow them on Twitter, game_moose_cast. I can't wait. Such a hilarious show. Thing is that these guys actually know what they're talking about, and I don't. So Brock and I will just kind of sit off to the side, and Ryan and Drew will drop some knowledge bombs on us. So I can't wait for that. So please, I'll tweet it out, but please check that out. Follow them at game_moose_cast. And also next week, I will be on Mitch Powers' podcast. You may remember Mitch. He's been on this show before. He was on the Xbox Prediction Show, and actually he was on with the Game Moose guys. Holy crap, what are the chances of that? So that's great. It's a GUG podcast, Growing Up Gaming Podcast. I will be on there next week, kind of like this show where I'm on the other side, where he's asking me questions and I go back into my memory banks and take a little trip down memory lane, talking about neighbor Matt, talking about our first Dreamcast and Xbox and all those things, man. It was tons of fun, dude. I just had a great time. So check that out next week. Please go follow GUG Podcast and find out when that's happening. I'll, of course, share it on my Twitter. Couple things. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to briefly tell you that I'm playing Uncharted The Lost Legacy. Got that from the library, and I think that might be one of the most perfect games to get from the library. I'm not sure. I have moments, like I'm into chapter 4, like it's still kind of early. I don't know how many chapters there are, but I feel like they've kind of given a few different gameplay experiences in those 4. Some of them I adore, some just taking me back into why I love Uncharted, and some kind of frustrating stuff. They started to introduce the driving in Uncharted 4. I don't love the driving as much as I still gave that game a 10. I stand by the 10 for Uncharted 4, but now it's kind of like getting away from the things that made that game a 10, and I don't know, but I love playing as Chloe. Chloe is awesome. I want more of Chloe. This is just gameplay. Don't be weird, you guys. And the other thing, I jumped into the Star Wars beta, the Battlefront 2 beta, a little bit, and they introduced some pretty deep stuff, at least just from a glance that I had at it, all the different classes. I want to jump into this day one, I think. It looks amazing, and I'm actually even more interested in the single player. So I can't wait for that. I hope you guys are having a great weekend of gaming and diving into everything that you want to get to. There's so much stuff. It's only going to be even crazier as we get into October. And why don't we just get into this little chat? And but speaking of October, all the music, I decided, I missed it last week with Todd Oxtra. By the way, Todd Oxtra, Toxtra, follow him at Secret Friends Unite. I want to get Charlie's co-host on Secret Friends Unite over on this. Thank you to Charlie for reaching out, man. What a great conversation with Todd. I'm telling you, man, it's all great. So much goodness happening here on We the GamerCast. I'm so proud with what we are creating together. This is not just me. Trust me, I can't answer the questions. It has to be like great guests, people who are engaged. I'm just thrilled. So if you guys missed Todd Oxtra, we answer the question, why are there no good Star Trek games? It's a little trollish of a question. I'm sure there's a couple as we discuss. Go back if you missed that on iTunes or youtube.com/WeTheNerdy. Please. Okay, we're going to get into it. Brendan Meyers, he is at King of the Pirates. The O is a 0. King of the Pirates. That's as easy as I can explain that one. Such a warm-hearted, genuine person. I'm so glad that we had this chat. I hope you guys enjoyed. Here he is, Brendan Meyers!
Yeah, my Kindle doesn't do any of that. My Kindle literally just like does pages, and I don't even do. Yeah, like I don't even do that.
I'm failing my
the Kindle
Kindle.
Fire.
Oh, okay. When did you pick that up?
Yeah, the Kindle Fire. Well, I got my. At the time, I was dating my wife, and she wanted one, so I got her one, and I was like, "Oh, this is actually fun." And like, my buddy gave me one, and then that one broke, and so I was like, "Okay, I'm getting a new one for my birthday." Or actually I got it for graduating college.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, "Okay, sweet, this is nice." And then, like, they're like 40. You can get them like pretty cheap now, and it's just like, oh, it's like a multifunction. It's like a backup computer a little bit, like if you need to.
No kidding.
Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff.
Is that kind of what you do all this social media business on? Like, is it your go-to? Because my Kindle sits and gathers dust. Maybe it's because all it does is read books, and ain't nobody got time for that. I'm not Lucas Lore over here.
Yeah, I do it because like with your phone, it's like, oh, it's always like kind of annoying, and like when you're, especially if you're looking at going to bed, like it has a better nighttime vision. Like it has like called blue light.
Yep.
So when you're trying to fall asleep, it makes it easier, and also you're not like squinting trying to read some stuff or look at pictures. It's like, oh, it's decent size, and
that's
usually,
a good point.
The only problem is when you fall asleep and like you're literally reading something and it smacks you in the face. Is a lot bigger than a phone.
Has that happened to you? I've been seeing that picture a lot of like laying down and then holding, like you're laying on your back and you're holding the screen above your face, and like it just slips out, like, because you are kind of falling asleep, like you lose. I've definitely dropped my phone, and I get in a lot of trouble for that because it doesn't quietly let itself on the floor. It crashes loudly, and it's this big commotion, and well, you gotta have like a rug you gotta have a rug. See, we got rid of all the carpet, man. But you're right. Maybe if I just put a pillow, but then it bounces off the pillow. Like no matter what, it's gonna hit the floor. I might have to build like a pillow fort next to the bed. Maybe that's what I need, or some blank. I don't know. This is probably more thought than it deserves.
Or just get like a really wide, get a bed the width of the room, and then you don't have to worry about it falling and hitting the floor.
Or, actually, I'm glad that we had this conversation, Brendan, because out of this nonsense comes, I think, a really good idea. My case has a little hole in the bottom, and what I can do is I can take remember the wrist straps from the Wii controllers?
Yeah.
I can.
Well, yeah.
That's a good idea. Maybe you could do that as well. Maybe that would keep it from smacking the face.
That'd be very helpful. Yeah, because I remember I put one of those on my phone, and I was just like, especially in college when you're drinking, and like I didn't drop, like the one time on my birthday, I literally was like opened up my phone to respond to a text message.
Yep.
It like kind of slipped down my head because I had some drink. I was facing a wall, kneeling on somebody's bed, like and doing this, and it bounced around me, and then lands in the only cup full of drink.
Of course.
And so it then it kind of worked, but the screen was black, so like I had to dial finally.
Mm-hmm.
I was still able to get like, "Hey mom, don't worry, I'm okay. Just don't respond to text." And then like everybody was just like purposely sending me text messages like, "Oh man, you didn't answer my text." I was like, "I can't read them."
What did you do with your phone then? Like replacing phones sucks, man. Like it's just like it's so expensive. Even like no matter what phone you end up going to, it's money that you don't want to spend. It feels terrible.
The thing is nice is because I have AT&T, so it's just swapping out the SIM card. So you you don't have to go to the store or make it complicated. And then if you do upgrade a phone, there's sometimes where it's like, oh, I have this backup phone. So you don't throw out your phone. You don't recycle them. You go like, okay, I'll always have one on standby.
That's true. I had like the original 3GS. Like they had the iPhone and it was on 3G, and then they had like the 3GS, right? And I remember just adoring that phone. I don't know what it was. Like it was small, but it was deep. It was like really thick but rounded. Yeah. And I just remember, I don't know if I've told this story or not. I ended up getting an iPhone after two things happened. So I went to I don't know if you've ever heard of this band called In Flames. They're like this like totally stupid metal band from Sweden or something. Like it's just insane, right? But they're totally harmless. Have we talked about In Flames before? I feel like maybe we have.
No, we haven't. But
Like
I
chatted back
definitely
and
heard
forth?
them, and then I looked them up. Nah.
Oh, I love that band, man. I've seen them a couple times, and one time I went to see them, and I had my BlackBerry Pearl in my pocket. This is how old this is. So I'm not doing these concerts lately. I had my BlackBerry Pearl in my pocket, and I just hung out in the mosh pit the whole time. You get all sweaty, and you're just like up against people and whatever. Yeah. And I guess that I was like too close to people all night because the Pearl, the roller thing, got like pushed in permanently and just broke. So like that thing wasn't a touch screen. It would pretty much rendered it. You couldn't use it. That was the BlackBerry's thing. And the very next day, I went to school. I was in college at the time, and I would always plug my iPod into my car, as you did back in the day. And I get in the car and I reach in my pocket. I'm like, "Where's my iPod?" I guess I didn't bring it with me. It must be sitting on the kitchen counter because that's something I would have done as well. But I am running late. I'll just listen to the radio and I drive off. Come home, park in the exact same spot in front of my parents' house, and I open the door and I step out and there's my iPod on the ground, crushed. It was garbage day. It must have fallen out of my pocket when I reached in to grab my keys. And so, like, within 2 days, I lose my phone and I lose my iPod. So then Steve Jobs came out with this magical device called the iPhone, and that was it. So it was this special, like,
all in one.
If only I had one device that could do all of these things. But I loved it, man. It was, like, at the time, it was enormous. It was 32 gigs, so I could have all thousands of my songs on that thing. And then that's the one that I kept around as a backup. And I kept it for so long that by the time that I ended up needing it, it was on to whatever, iPhone 5 or like too many generations. Like LTE was the thing. And so it came time for me to go, oh man, I actually need to use this backup. And then I call up my provider and they said, we highly, highly, highly recommend you do not use that phone because it's so old, like you couldn't connect to a new network. Like they wouldn't even let me use it. So ever since then, I stopped really hanging on to that idea, but I don't know, maybe there's a better way to do it. I just kind of liked having it around. That's most of the reason I had it, but there came a time that I needed the backup. It was no good, man.
Yeah, I think I just used a 3GS for a backup like maybe a year ago.
Did you really? That would have been like the same time, man, because I was having that stupid trouble with Android.
It was so slow.
Was it bad?
Yeah, but I just did it though. I just like, I just need to. Well, the thing was, I had to like go back like a SIM card. Like I had to go back. I had to go and like get them to go like, okay, I need this SIM card. Like that's an older card. Normally people are getting like the smaller and smaller ones. Mm-hmm. I had to go back to the bigger one, put it in, and then it worked. And then while I had like the phone get replaced, and just like I don't need this because this was like right coming up to my wedding, and I was just like, we're using this for communication with everything.
Mm-hmm.
I need something, so it lasted me through that.
Nice.
And I got it fixed right before we went on the honeymoon.
Dude, you just celebrated like your 1 year anniversary, didn't you?
Yeah.
Congratulations. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so let's go back then. I want to. Man, I could go in so many different directions because I want to know. I know you're a Nintendo fan. I want to get to that as well. But let's go back a little bit about like meeting your wife. You're a year into your marriage. How is married life for you a year in, man? Like, is this what you expected?
It's a lot. It is because I was like basically living with my wife while we were dating for a good while. So we were living together. So it's basically like we're all kind of married, but with no title. And then so it was me, her, and then we also had her twin sister living with us. And so we so it was just like it was good and all. And then
why was that arrangement? Why was that the arrangement?
Well, because we were living when we were living with her parents. Their parents kind of needed space. Her mom was on chemo for breast cancer. And so we were like, okay, like we kind of needed our own space and all that to really like our relationship wasn't gonna grow if we were kind of like being all cramped up in this house. Like my bedroom was in my father-in-law's office.
Wow.
Like office area. Like his office area was so messy that he was using like the family room.
Mm-hmm.
So so like I was living there at times, but like I never got woken up because I was always like waking up early for work and going to school and all that. So, but my wife was like, we need to look for a place, and then luckily her parents just like decided to buy a house so that we can live in this townhouse, and that with 3 of us would have our own space and just be a little bit more on our own than being like, oh, like we have to, like, because everybody's schedule was chaotic, so we'd like try to making like all 5 of us have dinner.
Yeah,
it was like a lot harder than. But and then so we were living there. We got married, come back from honeymoon, and then go through Christmas time. That was all fun, doing all the families and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And
it's crazy, isn't it?
It's like a deal. It's the first year we're married. Like normally, like, oh, she's at hers.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
at mine.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like, well, we're married. We gotta do it together. And I'm just like. I'm like, oh man, this is tiring.
Nobody
like,
prepared me for this decision that I have to make, this plan that we have to change.
Yeah, like I was like, work should give me an extra day off, like, because normally they give you a couple days for Christmas and all that, like for the holidays. So, like, they need to give me an extra one so I can recover from all this, like going to see family and all that.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, we're going to Pennsylvania, we're going to New Jersey, we're going even further deeper into Pennsylvania. It's just scheduling everything. It's like, and then traffic during Christmas, during the holidays. Like,
yep. This is why we stay home and play games. Like, on a good day, I don't want to deal with traffic, let alone the nastiness of Christmas. That's insane, man. Like, it's funny how, like, you just don't even think of, I don't know if it was like this with your parents. Like, my parents just kind of, like, made it easy at Christmas time, and we just never really thought of all of the different coordination that happens. Like, dinner is this whole thing, and making sure like people who are coming over are in the right place at the right time. And then you grow up and you become an adult and you're like, okay, my parents also had like each other's families to worry about. Like, that's kind of the thing that complicates. And then you have brothers and sisters who maybe they have their own families and stuff. It gets crazy. And so I empathize. I should probably know that if I'm going to talk on the internet and record it. Anyway,
you can always look it up.
Yeah, one of these days I'll just continue to screw it up for another 100 episodes or so.
I do it too. It's just like even with like when you're just talking quickly, just trying to keep the conversation, and you don't want to be like stop and go like, all right, what am I figuring out again? Like, you just go with it and go like, we're smart enough that we autocorrect what other people say.
That's right. In our head. That's right. Well, we can catch Bobby in his mistakes, and then hope that he doesn't notice our mistakes, and then everything is good. So okay, so we're kind of running through the year, I guess. It seems like you get married, living. So my God, man, I can't even imagine. So you must have been pretty close with her side of the family, though, to. Like, I have a friend who had a similar situation to you, actually. Moving in with the in-laws is something else, man. Like, how they must like you a lot.
Yeah, actually, her mom, like, basically, I was like the favorite kid. Like, I was like, so there's the 2 twins, and so they were like, oh, like, her mom really wanted to have a boy, and just like, and then like. Because she's like, oh, I can actually tell him, and he'll happily do things. Like, oh, can you help me with the yard work or whatever? And so I was like, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah,
like,
big manly muscles and your know-how.
Yeah. I was just like, and it's nice to go outside. But but her mom passed away 3 years ago.
Oh, dude.
Cancer treatment.
I'm sorry, man.
So
from the treatment.
So I felt. Yeah, it was like one more treatment caused her to start to develop internal bleeding.
Holy crap.
Make her, it was when she did the one treatment, and then they were like, oh, like they were going to see whether she would be eligible to have open heart surgery.
Mm-hmm.
So that it make it be easy breathing for her, because she would be on this she would need the oxygen tank, but she was a home ec teacher for middle school, and she would go to school without her oxygen tank. Like, she's like, I don't need that. And then as soon as she gets home, she would just eating it and all. She just wanted to put a face.
Yeah.
And so then when the complications came, it became like trying to juggle a chainsaw, a whole tractor, and a spaceship. Like, everything, the balance. So it got to the point where, like, it was just only doing more damage and more suffering while trying to treat her. So so prior to the wedding, we had like 2.5 years of that. So going through the wedding itself with my wife not having her mom was hard.
Yeah, man.
Everybody, especially because, like, even for my wife, it was just like she didn't have that one person to rely on. But luckily, like, she'll say, even though, like, the other side of the family, like the in-laws, like, sometimes it could be like a headache, but like, she was so glad that, like, she had my mom and my sisters and to help with, like, the bridal shower and help with bachelorette party with her, because we'll get to a point in a little bit, but it was just nice to have, like, family step in, all that. And so
because you guys must have been together for a little while before that. I mean, it seems clear to me that the two families are very, very close, and marriage was going to happen no matter what. So it's kind of nice that the foundation was there, so that when life happens, you're there for each other. Like, it's so incredible, Brendan, how, like, similar that is to Chelsea and my situation. I wouldn't say I never lived with her family, but just going through the wedding without a parent it sucks, man, because, like, you grow up, and I just have to imagine for her and for your wife, you grow up thinking the wedding of my dreams, and you've got all, like, everything is picturesque, and then something is taken, and it's really hard to live through that moment when it's not exactly how you imagine. So Chelsea's dad, I never met him. He passed away in 2009 from lung cancer. And it sucks because I only get to see pictures, and there's tons of family videos, and just seems like him and I would have gotten along so well. And she gets, walked down the aisle not by him, and she just absolutely adored him. So there's parts of the wedding that, what do you do? Like, it changes everything, right? So I feel, because so we just skipped, like, the parent dances. I don't know what you guys did. Like, obviously there wasn't going to be a father-daughter dance, and we skipped the mother of the groom dance. I don't know what that is called. So we just didn't do that, and it was one of those, like, I think maybe for a very split second, my mom went like, "Oh no, oh yeah, totally makes sense." So it just, I feel for you, man. It's obviously, like, a beautiful day. It's incredible. It's all about you, so that's kind of nice for once, But at the same time, something is missing, and that it's really awful, man. I feel that's awful. So how did everything go that day for you guys? Were you able to, like, did the magic of the day kind of push through, and, like, because it's a celebration?
Oh, it definitely pushed through.
Yeah, that's nice, man.
She had ear infection.
Ear infection
going on, and I was sick that whole week.
Of course.
I was I was so sick that I didn't even listen to If We Ran Nintendo. I was like, oh, I was like, I loved listening to that because it just lets me go with my imagination with Nintendo.
Yeah.
And then you're always doing reference, so it's like, it's amazing. But
you must have been down and out, dude.
Yeah, because I had my bachelor party the weekend before. Kind of drank too much, but then I was hit with something that was sick.
A week before is risky too, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't plan it.
Yeah, you could do it a little further out.
It was putting my wife through anxiety, and then, like, that week I went to work. And I'm just, like, trying to work, and I'm like, oh, I can't do this. So then like I go home and rest, and then the next day I woke up, I couldn't even get out of bed. Like,
Oh no.
body. Then I tried like, okay, Wednesday I'm feeling a little bit better, and then I was like, it took me 2 hours to do something that should take me half an hour, and like every time I moved or tried, like it was like, I feel like I put in my body to the extreme. I'm like, I'm gonna need to go and rest.
Dang it.
If I'm sick on my wedding day, so I was still like wasn't 100% sure, was feeling good enough to go like do go out to New Jersey, help my mom with some stuff, go do the rehearsal dinner and all that, and I'm just like, but the day of, it was just like, it's like it was lingering still.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what am I gonna do? But
medicate.
So it was kind of nice. I slept and played 3DS.
It cures all. That's like eating a dozen oranges. It's pretty much the same. Flush it out with some 3DS.
Yeah.
So how you were feeling not 100%, where you, like you're already kind of sweating that day.
You feel magic too. Yeah, I was definitely on the magic though. It was just like when we finally got into the limo after like going after the ceremony and after taking pictures at the wedding. At the church, and then we took pictures at a place called the Rose Gardens for like getting nice scenery. Then we're sitting in the car, and that's where like this day's awesome.
Oh,
like,
I love that.
Like we were like that day, but then she had to whisper like, "Oh, so I have an ear infection." I'm like, what? What's supposed to be going on the airplane? And like she has chronic ear infection where she can't just take regular antibiotics.
Yeah.
She has to take IV drip, and that's like waiting in the hospital the whole time.
What?
I'm just like, I'm just like, what are we gonna do? And so she's like, the next morning, like we go through the whole wedding, everything, enjoy running around like crazy. And weddings are never as long as they need to be, or you just have too many people. One of the options.
Yep.
But like you just want to have you'll go with the too many people because you want to share this moment with everybody.
How many people did you have?
We had like over 200.
Oh my God, that is too many.
Yes. And then the thing was
that's huge.
We'll do everybody at the church, like probably do some cocktail hour and then go around and say hello to everybody. So, but like when we're the priest said like, "Oh, you're doing a receiving line," so we had to say thanks for coming, all that to everybody.
Yep. Try and come up with something new for every single person.
I'm like, yeah, who are you again? It was just like there are some people that just completely, because there's just like one thing after another and after another.
Yeah.
And some people that are like good friends of her, like of course you invite people, like we wanted to have her dad have people invited. So like some people I fully met, but like his kind of focus was having him not feel so alone with the wedding, because you can't have us there like being a family, because we're wedding dancing. So
man, it's hard to do both of those things, to worry about the parents at the same time as trying to live in the moment. Like this is something that, I mean, hopefully for most people is once in a lifetime thing, and it's hard. As you grow older, I feel like parenting the parents and like caring for the parents becomes more and more part of our lives. Like definitely, I am acutely aware of that. And my older brother moved out to Vancouver, so it's just me and my, like, I'm kind of the oldest one here, so you kind of, that ends up being me taking the lead on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So this is a year ago, man. Like did the year like fly by for you? Like how is it? I don't know. Like what did you guys do for your anniversary?
We didn't do
Taco Bell.
We went to a hockey game.
Oh, nice. Yes.
She's a Flyers fan, so I'm a Rangers fan. So
that's got to be a problem.
Like, I've become a partial fan. Now we're becoming more fans of hockey now, especially this year with 4 hat tricks in the like opening game.
Yep.
And your boy, Connor McDavid, oh my God.
Dude, like, it's not even, like, it sort of feels not fair. It feels like somebody put a Game Genie up his ass, and he's just kind of like, nobody can touch him. It's awesome to watch. It's weird. It's weird to have somebody that good, and also, we were so bad for so long that you're kind of given this first draft pick, and you kind of go like, did we really earn this guy, or were we just like shitty enough for long enough? So it's a weird feeling here. And then man, opening night for hockey was awesome. So you're just getting into this?
No, I've been into hockey ever. I was into hockey and then went away for college, and like the first year was like hard watching because I was out in Pennsylvania, and just getting New York, it was like I don't want to watch the Flyers.
Yep.
But then I met a girl, and it's like I started hanging out with her our second year in college. I'm just like, oh, we want to go, and I was like, I'll go, and she took me to a Rangers Flyers game. Like her dad has season tickets.
That is awesome.
He had dibs on like tickets he like doesn't want. It's like last minute, so like we're like, yeah, we'll drive like 3 hours home. We'll drive 2 hours home, and then like an hour and a half to Philly. Like, it's all in the name of hockey.
Dude, I know it, man. I was in New York for work a couple of years ago, and it happened to be at the same time that some friends of mine were doing kind of like a little tour on the East Coast. They were in New York for a little bit, and then they were up to Boston, and they were doing a bunch of other stuff. So I hung out with them in New York one night, and they said that they were going to go to Boston the very next day and watch a Bruins and Maple Leafs game. And they said they had an extra ticket, which I'm not sure how that even happens. But they said if I wanted it, I could take the ticket. But my flight left like 6 hours after that game started. So I worked out this thing of I was at the bar with them, but I said I need to be able to get over there by train. I need to make my own arrangements. I left the bar, hopped on an Amtrak, got to Boston at like 6 a.m, wandered around. I just kind of like explored it as if I was in like Assassin's Creed or something, or Fallout, actually, probably more appropriate, which is the best when you go as a Canadian, as a tourist, wandering around all these like American cities. I don't think of like the historical context necessarily as much as I do, oh, I know this place because of this video game. Like I wander around Manhattan thinking GTA 4, and I went to DC thinking Fallout 3, and here I am like wandering on the Freedom Trail. Best day ever, man. And I went to the hockey game, met up with my friends, but I could only stay for the first 2 periods because I had to get on the train back to New York, catch my flight home. But like, best day ever, and all in the name of hockey. I want to go back a second too, and I have a big topic that I want to discuss with you today. I'm not avoiding it for sure. But you mentioned that you met your now wife in college. What's the nerd status like at that point? Like, how outwardly are you a nerd at that time? Are you outwardly nerdy? Like, what's that like? Because I always love hearing, the reason I wanted to talk about your wedding is because let's just celebrate the fact that you could be a nerd and get married. I just think that is awesome, man.
It's like, we met playing with Nerf Guns.
Yes. That is awesome.
We were like, so the story was, the story is we were playing Nerf, and I was just like, how it started was I actually started the spring semester, so this is I'm like in the hallway, like I get my dorm, and then my roommate, he moves out because his opening moved open in like their like mini dorm where they have like just a smaller setting, but like separate rooms, but they all have a common it's like a 8-room common space area. And so my roommate moved out, and so I was like, okay, I guess I'll have to find like more people to hang out with. So I'm walking down the hall, and I see this my buddy Rob, and he's playing PS3, and I was like, oh, sick. I was watching him play Star Wars, and he's like, oh, you want to give it a try? I was like, yeah. And like, so I'm just playing, and I'm like upping his kill death ratio, and he's like, oh man. And then he pulled out his DS, and I'm just like, what are you playing? He's like, Pokemon. I was like, I logged out of the lobby, and I go and grab mine, and we're just hanging out playing.
Did we just become best friends?
So we're just like, oh, Pokemon. Yes. And then I found out like the third floor was like everybody had a DS. And I'm just like, oh, I'm not used to like high school where
What?
everybody hid this stuff.
No
Now everybody-
kidding.
Yeah. And so the one night I'm just like hanging out, and my buddy Rob and his friend Dave are like walking by, and they have like a huge duffel bag full of Nerf guns, and they're like,
Oh my
"Come with us."
God, I love it.
And so we go, and then we kind of like break through a school building, and we're just meet up with a whole bunch of people, and we're playing Capture the Flag. And so a little bit before we even started, like we were just like all playing around shooting, and I was kind of playing tag with my wife now, but we never really talked or anything, but I thought she was cute.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go and play, and then I found like this convoluted way to get to where sneak up behind the protector of the flag, and I shoot her. She's like the smallest girl here, and she has the biggest Nerf gun. It just didn't make sense. And so I shot her, but she got scared. She like frightened like a deer, and then she like reacted, and she like bayoneted me with this Nerf gun. I get like a scratch on my chest. I'm like, ah. So afterwards, we go, we're like hanging out, and they're like, somebody has to look at it, and like, ooh, that looks like, do you want somebody to kiss it? And I was like, or they said, do you need your mom to kiss it? Like, nah, but I know who I'd want. And so everybody knew that I was talking about my wife, Ashley, but she wasn't around to hear that. And so everybody kept that quiet until over summer we're talking, and then like we get together, we hang out, and then we start dating, and people go like, oh yeah, this is what he said like that day, like 6 months ago. And my wife at the time was like, why couldn't you tell me this sooner?
That's
like,
not the way it works. These things have to just happen.
Nope. Yeah, you don't force things. You don't it's just more of a headache if you try to make things work.
Dude, that is spectacular. We met during a Nerf fight. That is at school nonetheless. Like that's I freaking love that. So it's like, because I feel like sometimes couples might meet, but like it's maybe not a thing. Like maybe they just kind of like met in passing, and then it's later where they really like lock things down. But like you shot her in the back, and then she stabbed you. That's pretty memorable, man. So it was after that. Then how did things progress? You reach out to her.
We were just like, it was like.
Or are you in the same kind of circles, kind of thing?
I picture her when I saw her on Facebook. Well, semi circle.
Yeah.
It was like we kind of met when the friends, like I was always like added on to my buddy Rob, but her and him were more closer friends. And so like I'm like, okay, so we go. It's over the summer, and I message her, like we're talking on Facebook and everything, and I was kind of like getting nervous. Like I was like, I hope she's like the dork.
Yeah. Is she a dork though?
I would be like, oh, like
she's playing with Nerf guns. Like she must be.
Yeah, she's playing Nerf guns. She'll have fun with it, but then she doesn't go to the extreme like me, where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go like play hours of video games.
Fair.
And also be having a Lord of the Rings marathon going on while
yes
a Facebook group talking about Star Wars theories, and I'm just like,
now we're talking.
or even though looking them up, because I'm like, sometimes it's more of effort to talk about these things, but it's enjoyable just to read what other people have to say.
That's right. I love that. So at what point did she introduce you to the family? When do you get to meet the in-laws?
Fall day. It was a fall festival, so it's like when the parents come to visit, and they have like all these fall things. They have like a bounce house obstacle course and all of that. Mm-hmm. And so, actually, my parents were supposed to come too. So we're gonna both have our parents meet.
Things are pretty serious.
But then my dad had to get called into work because he's like the hazmat emergency. So they were like halfway to we met at your college. So it's like they were an hour and a half away, and they had to drive back to work. And so I get to meet their parents. It's really nice. I was actually also watching my sister's dog, so I was like, oh, if they don't like me, at least I have a cute dog that they'll at least we have that to talk about. So it was really nice meeting them, but at the same time, like I didn't want to take too much of their time because they were coming to see their daughter and some
so
guy
nice.
that she
Yeah.
and then like a week later, her dad came to visit, and like he asked me if I want to go out lunch with them and all that. And so what was funny was we get our drinks, they would bring us water, and not even looking at each other, me and her dad grab our straws and shoot the wrapper at her at the same exact time without even. And then she's like, "Oh my God, I'm dating my dad."
Oh, that's weird. That's a weird thing. How do you bounce back from that? Like, let's just move on. That's a strange thing to say.
Well, that was like the goofy that was
I
like the
love
little
it.
goofy that he shows. But
Yeah.
he's more of like a school administrator. I need to act professional and all.
Mhm.
But it's just like when he's around his daughter, he'll be goofy from time to
love
time. And just the same exact time that I think to be goofy, she's like, she kind of loved it at the same time as like, okay, how much is he like my dad?
Oh, that's awesome.
But then I was like, oh no, wait, he plays video games. It's just like, okay. And then it was funny because we that year is when the 3DS came out,
Mhm.
and I didn't have a car, and so we left a party to go and pick up the 3DS at midnight.
Mhm. Like you and her dad?
I didn't. No, it was just her and I.
Oh, okay.
After this was like a couple months later. This was in the spring when it came out.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, she's pretty awesome because she's embracing this. She's like going to go with me and get this. And I was like, probably won't do it again, but like the fact that she did it was like pretty awesome. I was like of course she's like way higher than me. That's what I think. But
you married
like
up?
Same thing. Like how did I marry up?
Yep,
Like
I'm
this?
the same.
And so
Yeah, man, it feels good. So, okay, man, this is where I know that actually I was looking back in our messages, and man, this is like way too long coming. I know that I was like, bug me if I forget to, because I think we were talking about having you on in like June, and then that apparently didn't happen because I'm an idiot. And so I was reviewing the messages and stuff, and I know that there was a big reason why we wanted to have this chat today. So we had an episode with Luke just a couple of episodes ago, and yeah, man, I wanted to just kind of like dive right into this. I know that you and your wife it's been a year of marriage, but I know that you guys have had kind of a tough year in addition to all learning what is new about being married and that whole dynamic. You've had something else kind of like happen that changes, that nobody should have to go through, man. So what has happened in this year that, yeah, kind of like prompted you to reach out in the last little bit?
So in February, her twin sister committed suicide, and it hit us like 20 brick walls all at once.
Yeah, man.
And it was a shock, but at the same time, she did have some mental issues because she had nerve issues that caused when she was young, and so she always had to deal with pain medicines and all that. And like when she's young and your mind is growing, it affected her in a way that like just couldn't. It always was going to be an upcoming problem, dealing with the pain and all that. So, but it's what's like surprised us was like the week before, like we've never spent a Valentine's Day actually on Valentine's Day with each other. We always do it with her because she's been like basically in Scrubs, like JD, Carla, and Turk, like their relationship.
Classic.
Like,
yep.
It's hard for them to like, they've just been around each other, and it's like when the two of them are together and living, it's like, this person used to do this. Like it was a good balance. We never balanced it. we included her because she was just as important. She was
And they're identical twins?
she literally, yeah.
Yeah. So
And
that's
she
amazing that it
literally-
affected her, but not your wife. Like, I don't know necessarily
Yeah.
how that stuff always works out, but yeah, like that's gotta be tough,
just
man.
that little bit.
Yeah.
And like she was literally like a best friend to me.
Yeah, man.
She called me her little brother before we even got married.
Mm-hmm.
And so like that's how close we were. And it like people thought it was weird. I'm just like, why would that be weird? This is somebody that's my wife's best friend. It's literally her other half.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so like that just hit us so hard and just kind of went through it. It was sad, but like we were kind of so able to go through things. We actually, like, my wife, where we were staying was bought for me, her sister, and her.
Mm-hmm.
So we were at the point where like we kind of need to leave this. Like this is kind of like lingering here. It's like the space feels empty. And so we actually like we're so busy, like we bought a new house and moved into all that. So we've been here for 2 months, and it's just like probably after a month of being in the house and kind of like, okay, we're able to live in it and everything, when it started being like hitting us hard. Like I was feeling mad. I was feeling more angry about things because I'm just so upset that she's gone. My wife just feels feels like it's an accomplishment just waking up.
Yeah.
So what I'm glad that like at work I was talking with my buddy, and like he goes like he's gone through some traumatic stuff, and he said like a support group would be like, yeah, like, have you ever thought about that? And I was like, I never really thought about it. So I looked it up, and there was one happening the following Tuesday. My wife and I went, but like the morning that it happened,
Mm-hmm.
I woke up and I had a dream that like my younger brother, we're 19 months apart. He committed suicide.
Oh my gosh.
Like that dream, that whole feeling.
Yep.
Like you can't move. You just want to do everything you can to make that be not true.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily, like I saw a text message from him. Like he wakes up pretty early as well, so I saw a text message from him, and just like the fact that like I saw that like relieved so much. But like knowing what my wife goes through, not having her twin sister, someone that she shared the womb with, somebody that she always was always her player, like basically her player too.
Yeah,
she never
man.
had to find someone. So she and it just like was hard for me to believe. Like I finally got an understanding of what my wife has gone through, because at times like our short temper with like things, because we're just so upset, like we don't know how to deal with it, we don't talk, like it's just so hard. And then I went through that, woke up that morning and just went through work and just was like kind of feeling nervous about going to a whole group of people
Mm-hmm.
that have gone through the same thing
Yeah.
as we have. And the thing is, it was amazing to go with people that understand it, know exactly what you're feeling through, and it kind of gave you a sense of like this happens. It's like when a freak accident happens, like you can't control it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't put any fault on yourself.
That's right.
Even if like, and it's just like, it was like a sense of like relievement, because like you're basically, this happens to people. It's not just our experience. Like there's people that have been dealing with it a whole lot longer.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was worried about my wife, because sometimes she's like, oh, this is good to go through, like talk with people and all that, but sometimes she likes to keep to herself.
Yeah.
and it was both like a click. Like, we need to kind of be more open about talking about it, because even if it's not to this level of something bad, it could be even more worse, or something like, oh, your brother's, like, somebody's sick in your family.
Mm-hmm.
Taking the time and talking and being open about it, because I think that's really a key. And like, how people open up to you is just like, it'll even just opening up to a stranger, it can do the world.
Isn't that the thing? Like, that's what's been so amazing for me, is the discovery that, like, you can just pop on a Skype call with somebody that you've never met. Maybe you've chatted with them and your connection is video games, or maybe you go to a support group you've never met to any of these people. I know that I've talked to like counselors over chat, and like, I don't know if you experience this as well. Like, the what I get out of talking about this sort of stuff is not what I would expect. And I guess what I would expect, if that's even a thing, is kind of like, if I'm feeling sick, if I have a headache and I take an Advil or Tylenol, the headache goes away. And you have that, like, that going back to normal kind of thing that happens. You take the medicine and you go back to the previous state that you were before. But with this stuff, that doesn't exist. There is no going back to the way things were before, but the improvement is in a different direction. It's not going back to a previous state. It's going to a new, more experienced state. I am still living with what has happened, but talking it through has kind of like, maybe my muscles have relaxed a little bit. My mind is a little bit more clear. I'm pulling myself out of that spiral that keeps going down and down, and it just kind of like changes the direction. It changes the momentum of your brain. And I don't know exactly what that is. There's probably a much more scientific way to talk about that sort of thing. But for me, it's not even redirection. I was going to say it's about redirection, but it's like facing something like head on and diving right into it, and still rising above that stuff. Like, it's kind of like counterintuitive. It's almost like leaning into a punch. I don't know if this is a real boxing thing.
Yeah.
I think I saw it on that movie with Hilary Swank. Is that the thing with Clint Eastwood? She would talk about how, like, if you lean back, what the heck was that called? Anyway,
$1 Million Baby.
$1 Million. That's the one. I think that's what they're saying. If you lean into a punch, like, you're actually going to take it better than if you're kind of like falling away from it. It's like bracing for a hit rather than, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what the exact analogy is, but it just helps in a way that is so unexpected. And every time that I do talk about it, and I'm so glad that you opened up about it here today. And I hope, in a way, it's almost like practice, because I know that I have a harder time talking about this with family and people, like, face to face, than I do with strangers on the internet and just like chat rooms and things like that. I hope that, if nothing else, this is like practice. And even the way that I kind of just talked about that, I've never really thought of it that way, but this is just kind of, if you just kind of let yourself, and if you allow somebody else to work it out, it's almost like workshopping an idea, then you can continue to move forward. And I know that, it's been 7 months and it's going to be a long road. I can't even imagine what your father-in-law, what state he's in. I really hope that he's got a very strong support system as well. But man, I don't know, like, how are you guys at this moment? Like, is it a day-to-day thing that it's like, it's always weighing on you in a, I'm sure it is, but like in an overt way, or is it kind of come in waves? Like, I know for me, dealing with my friend who committed suicide, it definitely comes in waves, and there are times of the year where it's really, really hard. But then you kind of, you almost have to move on, as hard, as crappy as that sounds. So I'm curious, like, how has the journey been for you guys? Is a roller coaster? Is it just full on? What's it been like for you, man?
It's been kind of balancing first of all, like how we interact with each other in a way, because we're both trying to be like okay, we need you to do this, and like I need you to do this, but at the same time, like we need to deal with this in our own ways.
Yeah.
And like sometimes there's days where my wife will come home, she's just in a bad mood. You kind of you can't just go like see somebody's in the bad mood and be like, hey, come on, you need to talk about this. You need to talk about, like with my wife.
Mm-hmm.
Can't just force it.
Yep.
And then like, and it's just learning to deal with that, because before I'd be like, oh, I'll try to get it, and like eventually it would come out.
Mm-hmm.
But with this now, it's like I'm kind of understand, like there's some days where you're not gonna want to talk about it right away. There's some days where it'll just all come out, and just kind of being prepared to just listen.
Yep.
All right. And being there for somebody isn't necessarily you doing anything, because there's some. I think guys usually do this more, is they want to be like, what can I do to fix it? Like, I feel like I need to do something, prove that I am here for you and all that. But sometimes it's just being around, sitting right next to them while they're watching TV, and even if it's The Bachelor, garbage TV like that.
That's right. That's what being there for somebody is like, is sitting through The Bachelor, no matter what. Put your phone away and sit through The Bachelor.
Yeah, and then just taking the time to be like even for myself, it's just like even taking time for yourself and just being like, think about it. Like, you don't have to say anything, you don't have to do. Even like I'm actually very like gonna probably start writing down.
I love that.
What I'm going through, and I also like kind of, it makes me, when you go through things like this, you reflect on like how you dealt with something not even close, but like you'll still see yourself tending like, a lot of my dealing with this is I'm gonna dig myself into a video game and
escape,
enjoy that, and then even like what's even better is like when you're younger, you just jump to a video game. Now I'm an adult where I can communicate with other people about those video games, do a whole community, like find something good and don't give up on it. Like there's times where,
man, I love that. I'm
like,
writing that
even
down.
just listen to, like this podcast group that is more like a podcast family. It's not it's not just a group, it's more of, you see somebody there that's like, oh, like they're not going through a good day, you like, and you don't even know them, and they just pick each other up.
Yep.
And it's good it's just talking and just holding on to something good, and then like when you feel ready, it's like if somebody comes out and wants to talk, like it's good to know like, hey, there's Sean Capri. He will listen, he will talk to you, and like he will help pick you up and make you better. And it's not just one person. There can be many people. There could just be one action of just saying like, oh, like good job, or sharing something good, and like just getting positive feedback.
And just even like having this conversation just makes it okay, because like the thing is, social media almost makes it seem like we all put the best version of ourselves out there. We don't ever really put out, I mean, there's some versions of this too, but you don't typically go, it always goes back to the toilet for me. I'm having like real stomach issues today. Like you go, I'm having a great day, or I'm excited about this. And you talk about things that lift you up. You don't typically put out, all the different, like my dog, maybe these are things people do. My dog, I'm going to do it right now. My dog is having some troubles with his bladder. He pissed all over the floor. This is why, going back to the no carpet.
No carpet.
Dogs. Too many dogs. He gets a little scared. And there was a storm that was coming last night. But I don't tweet that out. I talk about how I'm pumped about, new episodes of We the GamerCast, or toilet paper themed Splatfest and things like that. So
I got to do that.
It's hard to, like, with that being the exposure, that being the outward facing version of all of us, how do you penetrate that and go, you know what, man, I'm having a real hard day, and I'm having, like, I need to talk about and the reality is, behind all of that stuff that we all put out there, we all have life. Like, life is only getting harder and harder every year, you know, like it's like graduating from like elementary to middle school, like it's more challenges, but the experience builds you up to deal with those things. So we all have that. Nobody is impervious to any of that stuff. So we all connect on this show through video games, but the magic is in that discovering through that connection is the other thing that is ubiquitous across all of us, is that life happens and we all have our stories and we all have things that we deal with. And I think that how we deal with those things is what makes this show interesting, whether it's great things that happen, like getting married and meeting your wife, or if it's really difficult things like what you just described. We all have versions of that, and it should be okay for us to talk about it. And I'm so glad that you reached out. I don't know if there's any going to, your first console or best game or anything like that after this. I wanted to talk to you about
video games.
I wanted to kind of just get more of a, you know what, I'm going to do it. I was going to say there's no doing it. I'm just going to have, there's no natural segue other than to say, because I want to close things out and I want to make sure that people get to know you on a gaming level as well. Not that you just go around shooting girls in the hallway with Nerf guns. What was your first console, man?
My first console was, we shared the Super NES, and Super Mario World was this game that, because there's 4 kids in my family, so 2 of us could play at a time, and you also had Mario Paint. You had
Mario Paint, yes,
Mario Kart.
Yep.
And just like it's like all these fun games, and like you didn't mind playing them over and over again,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like thing that I've definitely learned better than my 2 brothers. It's like I can just enjoy watching somebody play. It wasn't a game where
the original Let's Plays.
You could have 4 of all your siblings to play at once.
Mm-hmm.
It was okay. You either have one playing Mario, one playing Luigi, or you're playing 2 of you are taking turns playing Mario Kart.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just learning to watch and learn and just like love what video games, like you can just be sitting there and playing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like there's a lot of games where I was like, okay, my younger brother, he'd be like, he wouldn't play a video game unless he beat it first. So I was just like, all right, I'll be sitting with you playing, and like, and then he would then after he beat it, then I was allowed to play. But I was like, I would be willing to take that because how much I love when people enjoy video games.
Mm-hmm.
Like I let my younger brother borrow when I got my Switch. It was the same time that I met Bobby. I drove and dropped off my Wii U at my younger brother's place, and so he can play Breath of the Wild at the same time that I was playing it.
Oh man, that is awesome.
And I was just like, then like he would play, and then he would like play a little bit and get to work, and then the point where it clicked where how amazing the game was, he was like, dude, you made me love playing video games again.
Oh, that's the best. Oh my god, that is awesome.
I'm like Big Brother of the Year.
Right?
It's just like when you can get people together to talk about video, or even just to play, even if it's like, okay, me and my buddies, we just get together, play a couple rounds of Smash Brothers, and then we just end up putting the controllers down and just like talking and having a good old time.
Brings you together, man.
And it's like oh, we had the physical. It's the one like, okay, there's some people that just want to do the physical thing. Like it's hard for them going to hang out with people if they're not doing something physically. Like video games is just the simplest thing. You can get 4 controllers, have everybody playing on one screen, having a blast, and it's just
man. It's universal.
Amazing. Video games, the great escape.
I know. It's one of my favorite things that's happened in this last week. My favorite thing is in the last little while. It just happened this last week. My older brother who lives in Vancouver, which is like 14-hour drive away. Like Canada's a north. Like there's like nothing in between.
Yeah.
There's like a set of mountains that separates us. It's crazy. And he's just been like texting me every so often this week, and he's like, Mario Kart 8? And I'm like, yeah, man, let's do it. Except the problem is he only has a Wii U. And so, so I'm playing Mario Kart 8 with my older brother on the Wii U. But I'm like, let's jump on Skype, man. Like I don't call him. We don't really text all that often, but like out of nowhere, here we are playing Mario Kart 8 on our Wii U's, and we like fire up some Skype and we just have sweet hangs for an hour. And I'm like, I mean, maybe it has to do with like, maybe this is my comfort zone. But nonetheless, I was saying to him just the other day, like, hit me up and like, let's just have whatever, even if it's a half an hour, even if we do just a couple of races, like we don't have to make a big deal out of it. And it's like, it's my favorite thing, man. I just love that. And I realized that we have an extra copy of Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. So he has no plans on getting the Switch. Like he's a normal human being. He's not like the rest of us who need everything the first day. Apparently that's normal. Whatever. So, but I realized that the next time that I see him, and I think I'll be flying to Vancouver in the next couple of weeks here, I can lend him Breath of the Wild. Like that's awesome. And I wouldn't even thought of that. And I'm sure like you just never know what happens when you just connect with people that maybe you haven't connected with in a long time. Just you don't have to make a big deal out of it. And then it becomes awesome. Dude, this has been amazing. We're getting to that point where we have to close things out. I actually have, it's funny because Chelsea booked a newborn session for a friend of mine just had a baby. So I'm going to be meeting a new baby in a couple minutes here. But before we go, tell everybody your Twitter handle. I want to make sure people are able to reach out to you and give you high fives, give you support, and you guys can interact with each other. And also, while you're telling us your Twitter handle, what the hell is your Twitter handle?
It's actually
so King of the
Pirates, but it's a zero instead of a O in the of.
Yep, yeah, it's super
so
easy.
If you're ever looking it up, and then it's from One Piece, which is a manga and anime.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
actually wearing this shirt.
There it is.
But,
yes,
yeah.
we could. Oh, I don't have anything on my shirt today. Mine's just a black shirt right now. That's boring.
But it's like a long manga that goes on. It's still going on, and it's something that I've found, and then it just like always goes. I go back to it. I'm actually rereading it from the beginning while there's still new chapters coming out and all
I love
that.
it.
And so the whole thing is find One Piece and the king of the pirates. And so I was like, it actually started when League of Legends, and I was like, I need to create a username. And I was like, I would always do like my name. I was like, I gotta stop doing.
Only
my name.
losers do that. At Sean Capri,
So-
Sean like Connor Capri like the pants.
Yeah, but you have a good saying. I'm like,
It's stupid, man. That's the thing. Like I started saying it like
Fraser, like Myers, like
like the ice cream, or like the personality
Myers?
test. Is Myers? I don't know if there's I don't know what I'm talking about. Myers Briggs. Yeah, man.
Oh yeah.
That's the thing, right? Did you ever? So is it too much to assume that if you're into manga, that you're into anime as well? Like, do those things cross over that directly?
Anime takes too long.
Yeah.
Anime
Okay.
takes
Okay.
long.
Okay. I'm glad I
The only
asked.
thing I'll watch is I did all Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z,
Mhm.
but then I just started to do Naruto, and then I was like, oh, this stuff is going on. Like I can't wait for the next chapter or the next episode. And I was like, oh, they have this dubbed, so it's like I'm hearing it in Japanese but reading it while it's going on.
Oh, that's funny.
And then I'm like, oh, it's still too slow. And then I was like, oh, they have manga now. And manga was even further.
Mhm.
So I was at the furthest point that you can get to, and I'm just I'm just gonna stick with reading because you can just pick it up for a while, like read it while you're going to bed or anything like that. But like watching a manga, there's so many anime. There's so many fillers. There's just like, wait, that's not actually like a real plot to the main story. It's just like a side plot. Like, why am I spending my time watching this? Because it's like always like the joke with Dragon Ball is like 7 episodes later, then they finish the fight.
Yep. Yeah, he's powering up the whole time. Let me just spend half the season gathering the spirit bomb. That would be. I was gonna say because I know over on OK Beast they've got a great anime show called A Plus Anime, and they kind of like pick out new shows and they rate it like a school grade, and it's awesome for whether you're totally into anime or if you're just kind of like casually into it, more like because I know Dragon Ball, I know Naruto, and like a couple of these other things, that the things that pop up right at the top of Crunchyroll, but they kind of go a little deeper and they make recommendations on that kind of stuff. But anyways, King of the Pirates with a 0. Thank you so much, man. I'm so glad that it finally worked out. Thank you for your time and openness. This was a lovely chat, Brendan.
Yes. All right, I have one question for you.
Okay, man.
Why no Nerdflex and Chill? I love that show.
I know. I need, you know what? It'll come back when I'm 40 and I'm having like a real problem. I want to bring it back.
Retire. You can watch movies all the time and not have to go into your video game.
That's right. Dude, when I retire, it's going to be podcasting all the time. Are you kidding me? Like, I'll have the microphone built into my hearing aid. It'll be amazing. That's retirement life for me, dude. I'm telling, even if I won the lottery, like I'd be doing this all the time. It would be incredible. But yes, one day we got to figure out a way, because I miss Gary. I barely talked to him, and that was kind of just a nice excuse to talk to Gary. But I love that show. It was just too much, man. This new movie every week, and that's
going to the theaters and watching an old one, or remembering and taking notes down and about like the different parts of the movie. Is just like, I was like, this is a lot of work. You put more work into this than I actually did like schoolwork.
Dude, it was a good 7 to 8 hours a week. Like and we did that for almost a year. So, but anyway. Yeah, man, it was awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, Brendan. This has been amazing.
Thank you.
That's it. Lincoln is here. Lincoln's back in between the intro, and now Lincoln has shown up. He's on the video. He's a little rounded head little baby. Thank you so much to Lincoln for being here. Thank you to Brendan. Goodness, man, what a show that we are creating and that you guys are listening to. Thank you so much for being here week after week, and for being here on the bonus episode as well over the weekend with Jules Watcham. I didn't really mention that, I guess. I just figured you might have known. Jules Watcham, of course, a Tui, Chicken Wiggle, more Mutant Muds coming. We talked all about it over the weekend. If you guys missed it, be sure to check it out. It's in the same feed. Hopefully that's okay. Let me know, you guys, if that's I don't think I want to create another feed, but I hope that's okay. I don't want it to be too overwhelming, you know what I mean? So yeah, thank you to Brendan, thank you to everybody. Thank you. Also, I should do this when I'm more sleep deprived, I think. It's probably more comprehensive because I'm a little slower. Right now there's way too much energy happening, Lincoln. Too much. He's like, what's too much energy? Look at that little guy. Follow me on Twitter, Sean Capri, Sean Lake Connor, Capri like the pants. Subscribe on youtube.com/WeTheNerdy. Share, leave a comment, give a little thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Remember, I'm on If We Ran Nintendo with Bobby Pauls. It's on Monday nights, youtube.com/Nintendo Guru. Nintendo Guru. Lincoln's grabbing the microphone here. I'm on the Xbox Drive. My goodness, how many podcasts here? Xbox Drive. I drive on my way to work to talk about Xbox with my friend Dave Moore of DaceSpace, at DaceSpace, the DaceSpace Network. Hooray. Hooray, hooray. You guys know that because of your support on patreon.com/makeisbetter, we're doing recurring guests. We're creating new producer levels. We're doing a whole bunch of stuff. Bobby just announced some things that I think it sounds like he's going to do Nintendo Talk Live. This was like literally 5 seconds before I recorded this. So things are happening all the time. We're barely keeping up with your guys' support. I really appreciate it. I know Bobby and Toby really appreciate it as well. I'm a writer on WeTheNerdy.com, so check out my stuff there. My most recent thing was my Forza review, and it was really good. Here's the other thing that I can't put in that review, and I'll talk about this on the Xbox Drive, is it's excellent. Very, very good. But if you have both, or if you've never played a Forza game before, maybe check out 6 first. You can get it for way cheaper. It still stands up. I want to do some video comparisons. I think I said that at the end of the show with Jules. So look forward to that on youtube.com/WeTheNerdy. Thank you to our artists, Gary Gray and Adam Leonard, our video designer, Antonio Guillen. Link is trying to jump in on this as well. Remember, this is powered by the DaceSpace network of podcasts, where you can find a Nintendo Nostalgia, Topic Nintendo, Warp Whistle podcast, all of Bobby's stuff, bunch of other stuff. It's all happening. Otherwise, this is episode 108 of We the GamerCast. It's now in your ears and your eyeballs. Thank you again for listening. I'll be back next week with Lincoln. You're not going anywhere. I hope you're there too. Otherwise, it's time for Jason. Jason. Do you want to say Jason? It's time for you to say Jason. Say it. I think he's just eating the microphone now, or falling asleep on it.
Jason! 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 Sean! 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 Sean, where are you? Jason! 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 Sean! 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 Jason! 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 Jason!